Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to another YouTube video. Today our video will be focused on what you need to know as we end February and go into the month of March. We have 3 piles here, the first one being Selenite, second is this rose quartz tower, and third is a chunk of amethyst. So I do have some pre-shuffled cards I put to the side for each deck here to aid the tarot message, but basically I recommend taking a few seconds here, maybe even pausing the video, taking deep breaths, and choosing whatever pile you feel the most drawn to. I do want to say that if you want to book a personal reading with me, I'm just going to say this now, you can go on my website, www.tarotwithabby.com, and I want to reiterate for a lot of people here that I have only one TikTok and one Instagram. My TikTok is at @dunkitlikeabby, and my Instagram is my full name, so it's at Abigail Clifford. I will never, ever, ever message you via TikTok or Instagram asking you for a paid reading. Like, I will never be like, hey, how are you? I feel really drawn to give you a reading. You know, send over some money and I'll do it for you. I will never do that. There's a lot of spammers going on with tarot TikTokers, and it's not just me. So if you see anyone else having that same issue, please block and report them, because a lot of these spam accounts and fake accounts are getting a little bit more smart, and they take a lot of the content and then block before creating the profile, like 100%. So I can't even see these fake accounts anymore. So I appreciate you if you tell me, but like I can't do anything about it other than just keep warning people, and it gets really old because it's like I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. But I just want to throw that out there now before we get into the reading. I only accept readings on my official website, www.tarotwithabby.com, and that is linked below. Okay, so we'll get into it now. Please feel free to pause it. I'll give you a few seconds here, and there will be timestamps below if you want to jump to the other piles and all that jazz. All right, let's get into it. All right, pile 1 with the selenite palm stone crystal. Let's see what you need to know for the month of March and a little bit of what we got left of February. If you stay to the end, I will roll my astro dice to see if we can get specific signs on what kind of placements this could be really important for. And as always, this is a general reading, so please take what resonates. Don't overthink it. If you're not vibing with this pile, there is no one forcing you to stay here. You can go back and choose a different pile. You know, let's have fun here. Nothing too crazy. And let's see what the tarot cards have to say. We got one. Oh boy. Okay. So we have the Queen of Cups upright. We have the Chariot upright. We have the Temperance card in reverse. We have the Ace of Pentacles upright, the 8 of Wands in reverse, and we got a lot, 10 of Cups in reverse, and the High Priestess upright. So pile 1, what you need to be aware of as February ends and we move into March based on what I'm seeing here. There could be a lot of emotional building. And emotional building in the sense that this has probably been a little bit of a journey. Sorry if my camera is shaking. In the sense that this has been a long time coming, specifically when it comes to family matters or home stuff. And basically kind of getting back into the gist of taking care of yourself emotionally. Maybe you were putting other people in your family first. Maybe there were some things going on in the home life, a change in where you lived or who you live with, that kind of sparked this, I want to say downward spiral, but not in like a super negative way, but just like maybe feeling like you were set back on certain things, okay? And I feel like for a while now, this has been something that you have been wanting to do in terms of regaining this emotional strength and balance back, but like you just didn't know how to do it. With the High Priestess card here too, this could have been a lot of intuition building as well, like intuitively listening to your body, intuitively tuning into yourself and what you wanted to do for that day instead of forcing yourself to do things because it benefited someone else in the family, or like benefiting someone else in the home life, or like just having to do other things based on priorities and expectations and all that jazz, okay? This is definitely such a good time for you to kind of take back the reins of all this. And I feel like, again, based on what I'm saying here, this is something you've probably been wanting to do but didn't know how. And I'm not saying you're going to have this aha moment as February ends and March begins, but it's going to be more of this slow, natural progression towards understanding who you are, what you want to do, and feeling like you're in control again. Again, it's not going to be an overnight thing. This is going to be like, you're probably going to look back at the end of February in the March, and my goodness, words, in the month of March, and be like, oh yeah, I really did kind of take back control of my emotional state. Like, I don't think while you're doing, you're actively going to be aware of it. I think it's just going to happen, and you're going to look back and be like, oh yeah, like that's exactly what I saw doing, or happening. And I feel like too, just for a lot of you, I feel like there's a lot of sense here in needing to, how do I want to say this? It's almost like taking way more time for yourself. With the Ace of Pentacles here too, some of you might be starting something new in terms of your career or academics, and that could be another really important factor to all this going on. Or this could be that there is an opportunity presented to you, and based on how everything else is unfolding as the month goes on, that you are able to take full advantage of this opportunity. Like, it's going to kind of fall into place here for you in that sense, whether you realize it or not in the moment. And it's going to be feeling, I want to say, just really refreshing to feel confident in your emotional state and feel confident in this career or academic opportunity, okay? I want to see what the pre-shuffled cards here have to say in conjunction to all this. So we have the Feather, Think Before You Judge card. We have Childhood Innocence. We have Heal. Yes, my God, there's a lot going on with that. We have The Answers You Need Are Coming, Full Moon in Gemini. And then we have Don't Let Pride Get in Your Way, Full Moon in Leo. Actually, we just had a full moon in Leo, so I think that's really interesting. And our self-care card is Take a Walk. I'm going to put that down here. So based on all that as well, there's a lot going on here where the whole family situation that you're healing from or emotionally getting back in control with could just be your childhood. So if there were certain things that affected you and you didn't even realize were like childhood traumas or something like that, that could be coming to the surface or has been for a while now, and you're finally going to be moving forward with that. But there's definitely just like a lot of these answers that you've been looking for are coming within in order for you to heal, okay? And again, I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. I'm going to say that repeatedly throughout this reading for pile one, because I just feel like there's a lot of things just kind of slowly happening, and all at once it may not make sense, but looking back, you're going to be like, okay, I totally understand what that reading was talking about, or just like the feelings that I'm trying to portray. And I think these two cards are really interesting, with the Feather, Think First Before You Judge card, and the Full Moon in Leo, Don't Let Pride Get in Your Way. This, I feel like, has a lot to do with taking down your own internal barriers that you created, in a sense, when it comes to emotional things. Like, let's say you may not even realize how much emotional stuff you've been through and how much this has actually like been affecting you. And this is Spirit kind of being like, don't let your pride of, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing great on my own, like I'm doing just fine with my new venture, like whatever this is, like it's okay to not be 100%. Like, this is kind of Spirit being like, you can be proud of what you've done and how you've gotten through it lately, but it also doesn't discredit how hard it's been, or how shocking it might have been, or how much you feel like you've had to grown up in the past few months or to a year up to this point. As February ends, we go into March. I just feel like there's a lot going on here of needing to understand, like, you can be proud of what you've done, but it's also like, take down that barrier a little bit in order to really understand what it means to heal, especially when it comes to childhood things, or like anything of that sense, like family stuff. Like, it's okay to not be okay. Like, that's the biggest thing I want to say here for your overall theme going into March, okay? And this card too, I feel like this might be more of a specific message for someone in this pile, but I also want to say, if some of you are introduced to people from your childhood or teenage years, whether this was a friend or a family member that you just didn't get along with, and like there was a lot of clashing and maybe issues and fighting. This is Spirit kind of encouraging you as we head into March to not judge them immediately, because I feel like a lot of that could be internal hurt coming out, and it might not actually be how you feel about them, and it's just like that initial gut reaction of wanting to be mad at them or like upset with them based on what happened previously. And this has a lot to do with that, like maturing with the Chariot card and taking back your emotions and understanding that judging them and attacking them immediately probably isn't going to benefit you in any way. There's a lot going on here of needing to just be patient with this person, especially if they're not in your life actively. Like, let's just say you run into like an old family member that you had a tiff with at like the grocery store, and it's like you want to immediately just be nasty and like just not talk to them and like ignore them and stuff, and like want to judge why they're at their grocery store or something. Like, take it as it is. Don't overthink it. Don't do anything that you might regret in terms of emotional reacting. And I feel like it's going to surprise you at how well you handle the situation. Like, just taking a step back and not letting your pride get in the way in that sense either, okay? There's just a lot going on here of needing to follow your intuition and understand that, like, you're not going to have all the answers, but in the sense that, like, healing isn't I'm going to say this again, healing isn't an overnight thing. So when it comes to these things, it's okay to still want to lash out, or it's okay to be angry with this person still for what happened before, but holding on to all of that isn't going to help you heal necessarily. And there's just a lot going on here about needing to heal childhood innocence, childhood dreams, childhood matters when it comes to like just family stuff, I feel like, too. And it's going to be slow progression. I also want to say, too, I feel drawn to keep the childhood card next to the Ace of Pentacles. So I want to say, for some of you watching this specifically, this new career opportunity that kind of pops up might be a childhood dream of yours, something that you've always wanted to do, and now you're finally seeing that occur. To me, this is kind of signaling that it might be closer to the end of March that you might get word of this or news of it, or a glimpse of this opportunity. But regardless, everything else that you go through emotionally is going to make it easier for you to focus on this and feel like you're more in control. You've taken time to heal and work on yourself a little bit more, focusing on what you want to do in terms of your pastime. And like, I just feel like it's going to make you feel a lot more happier to do this childhood dream, this childhood opportunity, okay? And with the self-care card being take a walk, I really feel like a lot of you need to be getting outside. I think it's interesting, too, with this card art, the children are outside. So if you feel like, especially with COVID the past 2 years, that you just have not been able to enjoy the outdoors, maybe it's time to reconnect with your childhood innocence of going outside and just looking at the trees, looking at the birds, and like taking that time to be by yourself emotionally in order to heal and to kind of put things into perspective. This could even be that you feel drawn to go outside more and go for walks. And like, yes, you can go for a walk on the treadmill, but I think going outside is going to offer such a different perspective on things that I think you guys, pile one, need to be more aware of, okay? Just reconnecting with the wonders of nature in a sense. And I want to say too, some of you guys, we have a lot of bird themes here. Like in this, we have a bird. For the walk card, we have an owl here. This card is literally the feather card. So I want to say, pile one, some kind of signs that you can look for specifically are birds or owls or finding a feather on the ground, like something like that. If you see a feather while you're taking this nature walk, take it as a sign that what you're doing is right. Or if you see like a hypothetical owl, like I like to say sometimes, like if you're watching a new show that you feel really drawn to, and the first episode it keeps showing like owls or birds, like it's a heavy theme or something, take that as a sign as well. Okay, pile one, I really hope this all made sense. I feel like I was word vomiting the entire time, but that's just how my YouTube videos go. I feel like I just like non-stop talk, especially because there's no one I'm getting an immediate reaction from, so I just keep talking and talking and talking. I want to grab my astro dice here to see if there are any specific signs that this could be important to. And it can be your sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, like whatever feels right to you. Let's see, we have the Scorpio, so you could be Scorpio in your big six or something, or Aquarius. Let's get one more here. And oh, Scorpio again. So major Scorpio energy here for the people that are watching this, or Aquarius. And I really hope this resonated. Feel free to comment below. And again, if you want a personal reading, please feel free to. My website is linked below, as well as all the decks I used here. I get a lot of questions about the decks I use, and I'm listing them all in the video description. So if you're curious about that as well, feel free to check that out. And if you want, follow me on TikTok. That would be dope. But I'll see you next time. All right, pile 2, those who chose the Rose Quartz Tower here. This is what you need to know as we end February and go into March. Again, this is a general reading, so please take what resonates. And if it doesn't vibe with you at all, there is nothing forcing you to stay here. If you want to go back and choose another pile, please feel free to. And if you want, you can always book a personal reading with me on my website, tarotwithabby.com. So we got the pre-shuffled cards here. I will include that once I get the main message here with the tarot. And I just want to say too, I always get so many questions asking what deck I use. So if you're curious about that, I list all of them below. And feel free to check that out. Okay, let's get a few more here. One more maybe. Okay. So we have the Lovers in reverse. Interesting. The Devil card upright. We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Page of Cups in reverse. Let's see what the last two are. Okay, we have Six of Cups upright, and then the Magician upright. So I want to say my initial reaction to this pile 2 is that there could be some romantic troubles for you guys. Regardless if you were single or not, there's something going on here about being disappointed in love. Excuse me, and it could also result in some kind of instability when it comes to romantic things. The Lovers card in reverse with the Devil, there could be some toxic stuff going on. So I want to say if you are in a relationship, be a little bit wary of what's going on here as we head into March, specifically when it comes to your partner's actions and intent. But specifically, I want to say that a lot of it has to do with a general feeling of unhappiness, and I don't think the toxicity has anything to do with like another person being involved. So if you're worried about them cheating, I don't necessarily think that is the case here. I feel like it's more so just having a lack of communication that's causing way too much of this toxic, negative, draining energy to the relationship. Now, if you're single, this could be that you start talking to someone who starts to, like, at first, the first few days or week going into this, it could be really promising seeming. You feel like, ooh, like we're having a lot of fun here. This is interesting. And then it quickly turns into something that you don't want to be involved with. But just know that there's a lot going on here about possibly leaving a romantic relationship due to not being happy, being confused. And for some of you watching this could have already happened in the month of February, and this is kind of leaking into the month of March as we go into things. So take what resonates from that. I'm curious. I immediately want to dive into the pre-shuffled cards here to see what they have to say. We have the Confidence card. It comes with time and practice. We have the Lead card. We have Fire Passion. Luck is on your side, New Moon in Sagittarius. And we have Confidence is your key to success. And whoa, okay, so I'm going to censor this a little bit, but I think we can all guess what this is. Yeah, for self-care. So I'm going to kind of put that to the side. So I feel like for a lot of you, the main thing I want to say is, if you are in a relationship right now, and whether you're experiencing that rockiness or not yet, a lot of this has to do with miscommunication when it comes to physical things. And physical as in sex, and other things of that nature. There's something going on here where the passion isn't there anymore. And I think a lot of this has to do with low self-confidence in terms of it's either you or your partner that wishes that there was more actions leading to the physical connection here in romantic things. Your confidence is your key to success in this romantic relationship. And I'm not talking about the ones that pressure you to do physical things that you don't want to do. It's more so, I feel like if you're watching this pile too, if you are in a committed relationship, it's like there hasn't been that spark. There hasn't been that physical connection that you probably both want, but you're not communicating about it. Like there's something going on here of needing to regain that confidence to do the things that feel physically right between the two of you. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to do things that they are not comfortable with. This is all about doing things that you're comfortable with and regaining that fiery, passionate side of the romantic relationship that isn't there. And I want to say too, for the people that are single, whether you are talking to someone or not yet, I have a feeling that there could be a miscommunication with whoever this new person is about maybe not being on the same page yet. And I don't think it necessarily means that they're going to rush you into things. I feel like it's like you want to do things with this new person, but like your I want to say like timidness about your physical body, or like what how you feel confidently in your body, might halt you. And I feel like that could be something that your own low self-confidence is kind of starving you from. And you have to kind of overcome that with a little bit of patience and time. So I want to say specifically that if you take the time to really hone into self-confidence physically, luck will be on your side in terms of regaining that passionate, fiery sense. If you are in a relationship, if you are single, talking to someone, or soon will be, you're going to have to kind of lead this new era of physical intimacy with someone new. Like there's something going on here of needing to understand that. How do I want to say this as well? If you are in a relationship and you feel like maybe that physical intimacy part of the relationship has kind of died out a little bit, and you feel like possibly that your partner is only wanting to initiate physical stuff because you feel like it's only to fulfill their needs and nothing more, I feel like you kind of have to readdress that negative thinking. Like your partner wants to do physical intimacy, yes, because they feel biologically drawn to do it, but it's also because they want to do it with you. Like they're with you because they love and care for you, okay? And like there's this miscommunication, this misunderstanding, there's all of this kind of piling up on each other without talking about it that is going to maybe come to light here. Because I feel like with the lead card too, I see this, if you are in a committed relationship, this could be that your partner kind of talks to you and leads this conversation being like, hey, I love you, I want to be with you, but I'm not happy physically. Like we haven't done this or that in a while. We haven't been like on the same page about things, and like I don't understand why we're not on the same page. And like I feel like there's going to be this moment of sincerity where you guys have to talk about it. Now with the Six of Cups here, I want to say too, for some of you, I'm not sure if something in your family triggered this lack of intimacy, whether that's like you moved back home and you live with other people in the house, or like you have roommates or something, and that kind of stops you from exploring the physical side of things. And that goes for single people too. Like if you haven't had anything going on in your intimate life because you live at home still and that kind of blocks you, be honest. Like something about that you have to be honest about. And obviously there are things when it comes to being home and physical intimacy, you have to be very responsible and you have to be considerate about things, but that also you're a human being. Like if you want to do things, you should find a way around it, okay? And you can't let those things stop you from not being confident in yourself when it comes to physical intimacy, okay? This pile is all about romantic, but in the sense of physical intimacy, and I don't mean to be super like, I know some readers are totally okay doing 18 plus readings, and obviously I wasn't expecting that with this, but I really feel like a lot of the instability that you're feeling in your life as February ends and go into March is going to be solved by, one, being confident in your physical body and what you want to do, and like allowing yourself to really explore that and not feel guilty, especially if there's some kind of family or home life situation that's kind of stopping you from doing that. And two, actually communicating about this stuff, like leading conversations in order to really enjoy that part of your life again, especially if you have a committed relationship with someone. Like they want to be with you for other reasons other than sex, okay? Like, don't think that they only want to be with you because it's an easy, you know, whatever. Like, they care for you. And like, I feel like the more that you guys don't talk about it, or the more that you kind of brush it off and like pretend like it's not an issue, that's when real issues are really going to come in here, okay? Like, so if your partner leads a conversation about like all of this, be honest, be raw, explain why you feel like maybe you haven't been feeling like yourself lately. And the self-care card is literally that. So again, I'm not telling people to do things that they're not ready for or they're being pressured into. That's a whole different situation. This is definitely for people who are, one, in a relationship and haven't felt that physical intimacy in a while and need to talk about it, or two, you are single and have been deprived, or you're talking to someone new and you're worried about kind of tapping into that, like you want to, but you're also hesitating. Like, there's a lot going on here of needing to find that fiery, passionate side again in a romantic relationship. And I feel like a lot of you just need to be honest and open and communicate that maybe you're not feeling confident, that there's some blockages going on here, you don't feel stable enough to do it in some sort of way. And I really feel like a majority of you are going to be seeing like support. Now, with the Lovers in reverse and the Devil, there will be a select few of you that possibly don't get very good response, but I feel like that is only for a select few, because I feel like with the Luck is on your side card, I think that you're going to be surprised at how understanding and how willing these people are going to be to want to help you through this kind of weird phase of not feeling yourself, not feeling confident, not feeling like you can get physically intimate or something. And like, it's just gonna be a passing phase. I really feel like for a lot of you, this could be solved or resolved by the middle of March even, where it's just like a 3-4 week period here of just being like off, okay? That seems to be like the message for pile 2. I'm gonna roll some astro dice here to see what signs could be really affected by this, especially if it comes to your Venus. This is interesting. We had this for the first pile 2. We have Aquarius. Let's roll 2 more times to see who else this could be really important for. We have Cancer, and let's get one more here. We have Aries. So this could even be like for a partner or someone you're talking to. They could have important Aquarius, Cancer, or Aries placements. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. And again, if you want a personal reading based on all this stuff, honestly, feel free to book a reading with me. That is up to you guys. But pile 2, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Hey pile 3, those who chose the chunk of Amethyst, this is your reading for what to expect as February ends and we go into the month of March. So I'm going to be starting off with my tarot cards here, and then we'll be going to the pre-shuffled cards. Just a reminder that I link, or at least try to list all of the decks I use in my readings. I have a lot of people asking me that. So feel free to check that out in the video description. And if you, again, this is a general reading, so please take what resonates, and there is nothing forcing you to be here with this specific pile. So if it's just not vibing with you, please feel free to go back and choose a different pile. But let's just have fun here and see what the tarot cards want you to know for the month of March. Okay. Let's get a few more here. Perfect. So we have the Hanged Man, the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, the 7 of Swords in reverse, the 6 of Pentacles in reverse, the Hermit card, and 4 Swords in reverse. So I think this is really interesting. So far, all 3 piles have had some hint of family or home life weird scenarios. And for pile 3, I want to say overall, there's a lot going on here in terms of having a little bit of a stalling issue here, but needing to come clean about something when it comes to, I want to say it's more financial stuff for your pile 3. Like for some reason, maybe you feel like you need to come clean about how you're spending your money. Maybe if you can't afford rent, there's something going on here where you're living above your means. Maybe overworking yourself and still not being able to pay off certain things, or like not being able to live the lifestyle you want. And this could even mean for some of you, you have to move back home with family or like your parents or something. Like some kind of readjustment needs to be happening here. That's kind of a solo journey for pile 3. And a lot of it has to do with finances, or it could be academics. So I want to say if some of you feel like you've been taking advantage of people's kindness, whether it comes to professors who are willing to let you turn in work late, or your family's paying for your tuition and like you're blowing off classes and failing or something. There's a lot going on here in terms of needing to come clean about certain things. Understand that you're putting yourself in this situation and realizing only you are the one that can fix it all. And I want to say too, for some reason, pile 3, I don't mean to keep calling you out, but I also want to say, like, you're giving yourself too much leniency, too much time off, too much, you know, relaxation, and like it's okay to prioritize that, but like it's affecting other things way too much. And like this is something that you have to be fixing on your own. I really want to see what the pre-shuffled cards have to say about all this. We have gray, endings are inevitable. We have fog, veiled. Yeah, that's making a lot of sense to me. Helpless and hopeless, pile 3, oh my lord. We also have full moon in Scorpio. It's time to release negativity. And then, ooh, another Scorpio. We have work through your fears, new moon in Scorpio. And our self-care card is watch a movie. So pile 3, this is very much so confirming what I was feeling in terms of you're feeling helpless and hopeless. Things are not making sense. It's foggy, it's veiled, but like you're forcing yourself into this situation, okay? Specifically when it comes to your fears and negative thought processes. So if you're like, oh, I'm afraid to graduate, I'm afraid to do all these things, I'm afraid to start this, so like you're starting to slack off in other senses, and like I'm afraid to grow up, so you're not paying rent on time, or like not paying your car payment, like these things, your fears are stopping you from being on top of things, but like in a sense that like you're creating your own fog, you're creating your own stalemate, and it's like things are meant to end, and you're like the gray card, the endings are inevitable. Like I want to say like, and it's like the harsh reality of like you can't be 15 forever, you can't be 22 with no responsibilities forever. Like this is kind of like a harsh reality check here, pile 3, as we move into March, where it's like you're gonna be slapped in the face with understanding that like it's time to start new in the way that you handle your finances or academics. It's time to start new in how you do your own journey. And like a lot of you could be Scorpios. There's a lot of Scorpio energy here. And I feel like for some reason it's just like, I don't even want to say it's like you're being babies, because that's like so rude. But like I just feel like for a lot of you, it's like it's time to have that reality check. It's time to grow up. It's time to start doing things for yourself. Not everyone can be there for you to help you along the way. Like it's definitely like being brutally honest with yourself and those around you, and taking accountability for things. Accountability that you're creating your own fog, that you're creating your own confusion, because you're not taking the time to see the light. Because I really feel like with the fog here, the light's coming through, the light's shining here. We have the Hermit with the light. There's just a lot going on here of needing to understand that no one else is going to guide you along this. You have to do it yourself to an extent, especially when it comes to family members, when it comes to superiors, like professors, like things like this. Like you have to kind of get your gears moving, and this is going to be like the biggest theme of March. Okay, like understanding that, like, especially if you like graduate in the spring or something, like you're not going to have the downtime that you had as a college student forever. Like you're probably going to have to get into the mode of working 9 to 5. Like, and I understand that like it sucks, but there's something going on here where it's like not all new beginnings in that sense have to suck. Like there's something going on here of needing to change your mindset about all of it, and like understanding that with this new beginning and like taking on more responsibilities, there's also a lot of perks. Like for example, I like to point this out. It's like, yeah, you're ending college and like having to go into the real world and all this, but like, do you know how much you don't have to take tests anymore, or like have to do stupid things you just don't want to do anymore when it comes to assignments and like all that jazz? It's like you can do what you want to do post college to a certain extent, and like then you have real money to spend. Like I bet a lot of you or people like me understand that like you probably couldn't work that much in college, so you weren't that rich unless you got money from your family. And it's like you have to kind of understand that there's so many more perks post-college than you might even realize. And that's just an example. And I feel like for a lot of you, it's like having to have that reality check, but also understanding that this new phase of your life isn't that awful. Like, it's like you're kind of overthinking to an extent where you're like creating way too much of a boundary to accept the next phase, okay? And I think this is interesting to watch a movie for self-care, because I feel like a lot of you need to be creating a new routine for like your downtime, specifically at night. I don't know why. I feel like if you feel drawn to sit down at night and that is your time to relax, and not during the day at like 2 o'clock, 11 a.m., like weird times of the day where it's like, that's why I keep feeling this is like a very college-esque reading, where it's like not being very proper with your time and energy and all that jazz, and creating more of a routine that caters to your downtime being at night, and being more productive during the day, and like doing things that even though they're scary or something like that, like you can work on it during the day, and like that you get through the day and you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad. Like there's some kind of energy like that. But again, I want to stress here, the biggest thing you're going to be realizing as we go into March, it's like no one's going to be holding your hand through this. Like you're going to have to realize this yourself and take responsibility and action yourself. There could be people that say stuff to you, like a professor or like a boss or your family members, but it's like no one's gonna actually do it for you. Like you have to be doing this for yourself, okay? And I want to say too, like you're not as helpless or hopeless as you think. And like that's another thing too. It's like release that energy that you're like harboring, that it's like, I'm just so hopeless and helpless. I can never do anything. Like I'm just gonna waste away and not do my work, or like not pay rent, or like whatever. Like you're kind of creating that own boundary, and it's time to come clean about that. Like that's the only thing I feel like I need to keep saying, is like coming clean about it, understanding that it's not as bad as it seems, and like no one's going to help you along this journey but you. And there's a lot of power in that. It's not scary, it's empowering. Like that's the biggest thing I think Spirit wants you to understand about this whole process, okay? I feel like that's kind of what you need to know. This feels like I'm surprised that we didn't get the wake up call card for that, because that just screams lots of things coming to light. We have the Taurus for if this is important for certain zodiac signs. We also have Cancer. Let's get one more here. And again, this could be your big six, like Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus. And we have Capricorn. So if you have major placements with Taurus, Cancer, or Capricorn, this reading is definitely for you. If not, it's okay. But I just like doing that for extra confirmation. Pile 3, I did not mean to like hone in on you and really like scold you, but that's what needed to be said, okay? If you want a personal reading on all this, please feel free to book one, and if not, I will see you next time.